Hello from StratcomTalks. Welcome to another program. Today, our guest is Mr. Deniz Tansi. Mr. Deniz Tansi is an associate professor at Yeditepe University. He is the chairman of Faculty of Economy and Administrative Sciences at the Public Administration Department. He has many articles about the Middle East, Turkish nationalism, and Turkey-EU relations. Well, it's a pleasure to have you here today with us. As we know, you have many achievements about many subjects, but we will be talking about government communications. I know it will be a great program.
Thanks for your kind invitation. It's a pleasure for me. I hope to make a useful contribution to the program.
We are glad that you accepted our invitation. We now talk about communication in every area of our lives. It is almost like every single subject leads us there. By thinking about it, how can we evaluate states' communication?
Communication is explained by a spiral. We need two persons to realize communication. There must be a sender and receiver. Sender sends message. Receiver must react with the feedback. When feedback stops, communication ends. Why we call spiral about the process? For the states, communication is essential in all issues. In this context, states must organize their message clearly. So, states' communication has to be structured, institutionalized, different medium and channels.
True.
Meanwhile, social media can be considered. States' duties enriched. Each state must persuade her own public opinion and the other countries' public opinions. We can observe campaigns against some states, so this is the real challenge in current and further world.
Very sensitive subject. What are the effects of states' communication in the world politics?
There are many events, crises, wars in the daily political life. If a state cannot express herself, it's a national security problem. The state can be blamed harshly. Domestic problems, foreign crises can trigger the national union, even territorial integrity. Persuasion is significant, and keeping the legitimization is related to reason. In the early 20th century, modern states communication was developed during the First World War. Today, states communication is applicated in the war and peace. The main difference, states use publicity and adversaries like the private sector. Social media networks are also used in the state's communication.
Isn't it interesting? Every state has their social media account, like Twitter, Facebook. Example, the world has seen its effects so clearly by U.S. President Trump's Twitter posts in the past. Is social media a threat to states' communication?
Social media presents a virtual reality. Also, there are fictions, algorithms in social media networks. Manuel Castells called the post-industrial age as network society. Algorithms show us social media is not a freedom sphere. So the main question is, who controls these networks? With a single message, there can be riots, chaotic actions, or a war.
It is scary.
All democratic states applied new rules to control the social media. But these limitations are not enough. States must react with the messages and counter actions. Social media can be a threat. States communication is the real line of defense. We live in the information age. Alvin Toffler described three waves for the world history. The first wave was agriculture. The second wave was industry. The third one is information age.
So true for today's world, right? Everything is information and depends on it.
Information is a security issue. States can control all the network. We need more sensitive methods for states communication. We have a discipline which is called as public diplomacy. Persuading of the domestic public opinion is not sufficient. States need to persuade the other nations. States can sponsor the films, TV series, also courses, competitions can be held. Communication is a whole process. Social media is global. States can use the network as a tool. I think innovation will also occur in states' communication.
Looks like we can change outcomes of events by correctly using state communication. Okay, what is your opinion for states' communication future?
States' communication must be considered with fine techniques. Perception management is essential in this context. There is a correlation with image management. States' communication must plan these items. Especially, I want to underline perception management and image management. That's very important. Why? Because especially we can say that for the firms, for the companies, we know that corporate identity and the other, etc. We can add many things. Also, states need in this context, we can say the corporate image is important to persuade the other public opinions, to persuade her own public opinion. It's related with war, it is related with peace, it is related with economic issues, it is related with main benefits. For instance, for our country, Eastern Mediterranean, or Caucasus, or Black Sea, or relations with United States, relations with Russia, relations with European Union.
I see your point.
Naturally, in domestic public opinion, there are many discussions. We have to make, or we have to help in publicity to our public opinion, to other public opinions, and we have achieved it. But I think that it must be developed, and we can develop these issues more useful. We can add that. And the last sentence about these items says communication in the future world will be more sensitive. But when we applicate it, it must not be just like a propaganda. We must use it for the other channels, for the other mediums, just like adversaries and just like the other publicity campaigns.
It seems like we should use these elements carefully so they can find the right target. Well, thanks a lot, Mr. Deniz, for joining us today at StratcomTalks. It was a nice program. I think I learned as many things from you as our audience did.
Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to explain. I give my regards to the audience. Have a nice day.
Dear listeners, I was with Mr. Deniz Tansi today, and we discussed different elements of states' communication. Stay well till next time.